Ukraine experiencing the largest cyber attack in the country's history this week. And with the potential Russian invasion looming, the Department of Defense is looking to provide more military aid to Ukraine. Our national correspondent Logan Ratick is live at the Pentagon with details. Logan, good morning.
Good morning. And the Pentagon says that Russia hasn't made a decision on whether or not they're going to invade Ukraine. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin wants to use ground deliveries to get this lethal aid to Ukrainians as opposed to air delivery. But right now there are only troops, about 6,000 troops stationed in neighboring countries like Poland, Germany, and Romania. But Secretary Lloyd Austin, he is meeting with NATO leaders in Europe as we speak. And here's part of what he had to say during his first meeting.
We're committed to Article 5 and also the principles of collective security.
Now, Secretary Austin says that Russia is not showing any signs of de-escalation. Keep in mind, the U.S. has already approved $650 million in military aid for Ukraine with this threat of a potential Russian invasion. And just last month, they approved $200 million in aid for Ukraine. That included Javelin anti-tank missiles, as well as munitions and other supplies. But the Pentagon right now says the best bet is to arm the Ukrainians.
Should he choose to invade again, he is doing all the things you would expect him to do to make sure he's ready for that option or options.
And as a means of deterrence, the U.S., as I mentioned, put over 6,000 troops in neighboring countries around Ukraine. There's also 8,500 troops on heightened alert for deployment should they be needed. But again, U.S. intelligence officials said today was the day that Russia was going to invade. That has yet to happen thus far, and we'll keep you updated from the Pentagon. Back to you.
All right. Always developing situation there. Logan Ratick, thank you very much for that report.
Now, despite the Department of Defense ramping up military support for Ukraine, fears of a Russian invasion seem to have eased but not disappeared. Nightfall now in eastern Ukraine. We'll bring in Newsmax correspondent Sarah Williamson live in the eastern Ukraine area for the latest on this. Sarah, the State Department just tweeted this out about 4 minutes ago. The United States stands with Ukraine on this day of unity. Today was supposed to be the day for a possible invasion, according to the Ukrainian president. What feeling do you get there?
Well, Sean, the situation in government-controlled Ukraine remains stable, but to the east of us, over the red line, the non-government-controlled area still remains an area of concern, despite the announcement of Russian troop withdrawal. There is a ceasefire here in effect, although the situation is volatile because there is about 10 ceasefire violations along this border every day. All of them do come from the Russian side, I must say, because the Ukrainian military is constantly being told not to respond. They're given strict instructions not to do so because it just gives Russia further incentive to continue to invade. Now, the thing about the de-escalation is with Russia saying that their units, their military units have been told to de-escalate from the western and from the southern borders, and they're heading back to their base by rail or by trucks. Now, in the meantime, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has said that they haven't seen any signs of de-escalation along the eastern border so far. So here, it is still a concern for the people here along the eastern border where we are. But as you said, it is Unity Day here in Ukraine, and the people in Kyiv are certainly unified.
All right, Sarah Williamson reporting there live in eastern Ukraine for us this hour. Sarah, thank you.
Well, now as the U.S. and the world monitors the situation between Russia and Ukraine, stateside, a bipartisan group of senators issuing a statement in support of its U.S. ally, saying, quote, they stand in solidarity with Ukraine and back sanctions on Russia. Joining us now to discuss is Homeland Security member Congressman Jeff Van Drew, a Republican from New Jersey. Congressman, thank you for coming on today. Now, despite the message of support for Ukraine and also for sanctions against Russia, Senator Bob Menendez, a Democrat from New Jersey, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, blasted a Republican bill aiming to impose sanctions against Russia, saying in part, quote, "It's a shame that Senate Republicans have decided to choose partisan posturing instead of working to reach consensus on a comprehensive bipartisan proposal that would demonstrate a unified front to deter Putin from reinvading Ukraine." The bill he was referring to includes halting the construction of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, financial sanctions on Russian banks, $500 million in security assistance for Ukraine. What do you make of this sort of lack of a decision, I guess you could say, lack of a bipartisan approach when it comes to dealing with Russia at this very tense time?
Well, obviously, it's much preferred to have a bipartisan approach. Let me make something very clear that we hear from our people, whether it's in Homeland Security at the committee level or just talking to folks at home. People do not want American troops with boots on the ground there. So that's clear. So our options are limited to some degree. One of them is sanctions. And certainly sanctions can be effective, especially if they're strong sanctions. And then you have to decide if you want to do the sanctions before or after. In other words, if nothing happens, thank God, but if something happens once the Russians are engaged, they're going to continue to be engaged. So that's of a real concern as well. I would have preferred that we started out with some sanctions, showed that we were real serious, didn't want them doing this without, again, committing troops there. You know, one interesting thing about this that a lot of people say to me, our border is open in the United States of America. Our border is just leaking everything you could possibly have come into the country. People who are criminals, people who are sick, people who are involved with the drug cartel. And you know what Americans are saying? They're saying, take care of our border. We're worried about our own border more than we're worried about even what's going on with Ukraine. So sanctions, yes, I can certainly see that that's a possibility and something that we, need obviously to look into. But I don't believe, and I really want to emphasize this because I hope it's not where the president is going. I do not believe that we should put our men and women on the ground in Ukraine.
Again, we've seen troops deployed from Fort Bragg, headed to the region, to the area, to nearby countries, but not to Ukraine. It was a promise that the president had made that U.S. troops would not fight in Ukraine. We'll watch what happens there. Again, we've heard reports again of troops, Russian troops, leaving the border area. But what have you heard in regards to the number of troops from Russia, your anticipation of a possible invasion? Have you seen more clarity in your briefings?
There seems to be slightly more clarity that we may be going, hopefully, in a better direction. But Putin's a wily guy. I mean, you got to be careful with him, and you don't know what he's really up to. Hopefully, that's the direction that we are going in for NATO, for the world, for Ukraine. And truthfully, for Russia, this isn't a good thing to do. Now, when we talk about, the Nord Stream 2 and the pipeline, that was a huge mistake. Huge mistake that this president and this administration made among many, many mistakes. You can build your pipeline. You can make, he says to Russia, you can build your pipeline. You can make everybody dependent upon you in Europe, especially Germany. However, we're going to stop building ours.
Right.
That makes us weaker, makes them stronger. Who in God's name would ever do that? I don't know, but it's just one of the many things that he's done during his administration that makes absolutely no sense to me.
And there do remain concerns that an invasion could mean higher energy prices that the United States would face as well as a result. Congressman,
it will mean higher energy prices. There's no doubt.
We've already seen an increase in gas prices.
The production dip that this president put in place by limiting production has made us get on our knees now and beg, everybody else, Russia and obviously all the oil producers, for more petroleum products. It was a terrible mistake to make again as well.
Yeah. All right. Congressman Jeff Van Drew joining us on the program. Appreciate the analysis. Thank you so much, sir.
You're very welcome. Take care.
You too.